Happy Thursday, day 32. We're in Matthew chapter 25. This is a big chapter. I come to it often, not because it's my favorite chapter by any means. I find it very unsettling, but I think the stories that are found here, the parables, are important, and so I find myself coming back to it. So let me read you one of them right now, Matthew 25, verses 14 and following. For it will be like a man going on a journey who called his servants and entrusted to them his property. To one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, to another 1, to each according to his ability. Then he went away. He who had received the 5 talents went at once and traded with them, and he made 5 talents more. So also he who had 2 talents made 2 more. But he who had received the 1 talent went and dug into the ground and hid his master's money. Now, after a long time, the master of those servants came and settled accounts with him. And the one who had received 5 talents came forward, bringing 5 talents with more, saying, Master, you delivered to me 5 talents. Here I have made 5 talents more. His master said to him, Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a little. I will put you over much. Enter into the joy of your master. And he also, who had 2 talents, came forward, saying, Master, you delivered me 2 talents. Here I have made 2 talents more. His master said to him, Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a little. I will set you over much. Enter into the joy of your master. He also had received the 1 talent, came forward, saying, Master, I knew you to be a hard man, reaping where you did not sow and gathering where you scattered no seed. So I was afraid, and I went and hid your talent in the ground. Here you have what is yours. But his master answered him, You wicked and slothful servant. You knew that I reap where I have not sown and gathered where I scattered no seed. Then you ought to have invested my money with the bankers, and at my coming I should have received what was my own with interest. So take the talent from him and give it to the one who has 10 talents. For to everyone who has, he will be given. Everyone who has will more be given, and he will have an abundance. But from the one who has not, even what he has will be taken away. And cast the worthless servant into the outer darkness. In that place there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. The art I selected is from the 17th century Danish painter. It's oil on wood, and it shows the accounting at the end. And so you've got the master seated at this table, the 2 early talents, the 5 talent and the 2 talent guys are standing back there. And then you've got obviously the 1 talent guy getting called to account. So there's 2 ways that this passage tends to be understood. The first, most common today, is that this is a statement about us as individuals. And so this is basically saying we're stewards of God's resources. Everything on the asset side of the ledger is from God. It's on loan to us. We're expected to invest it. Our life, our time, our gifts, our talent, our money, everything that we've got is a gift from God, and we're expected to use it and invest it in ways that honor God. So most people today hear this passage this way, especially Americans, because we think as individuals. And so, look, I want to say, I think that this is true, and I want to encourage you to see your life as a gift for which you are accountable, and to be a good steward of what you've been given, and to invest in others, to serve. Everybody wins when you serve, starting with you, but not just you. As you use God's resources, as you use your time, as you use your insights, and you love and care for other people, you will be rewarded for that, but additionally, other people benefit now. So that's one way to see this passage. I actually don't think it's the way that the Pharisees would have heard it. I think the Pharisees are going to hear this, and part of the goal of Bible study is to understand what the original listeners would have understood to be the original meaning of the original writer, of the writer. I think they would have understood this as being a parable about Israel. And so what they would have heard is that Jesus was talking to them. So the God the master is God, and these people are references to Israel. And what is Israel doing? And Israel is being called up for being short in leaning into their mission. So God has given them, God called them, and this is the whole story of the book. God calls them, Abraham, Genesis chapter 12, gives him descendants, gives him land, gives him favor, right? And is going to bless the whole world through him. And I think that there's a little bit of a being called short on their account. And God gave them everything. And the Jews are first, and all that, even today, I believe. But there's a sense in which they have not leaned into that. So that's harder, obviously, to apply. And I think the first part does still apply. So I want to encourage you to sit down and think about your balance sheet, think about your ledger, think about what's on the asset side of the ledger, and think about how you're investing the assets that God has temporarily entrusted to you. And to ask yourself, when I am called up for an accounting for my life, we're saved by grace through faith. Our relationship with God comes through Jesus. But we are accountable as well for the life that we have lived. And so how are you going to wish? What are the decisions you're going to wish you had made then? And how might that influence what you do today? Have a good day.